It would seem I'm always up for a game of dubious and dodgy electronic items from China. This is actually a total and complete impulse purchase by yours truly, primarily because I wanted to see how it actually performed, and if its performance was commensurate with other similarly priced and I guess you can say equipped models from the likes of Bell & Howell, Vividar, and many of the other no-name camcorders, or they do have a name, but names that both you and I have never heard of before, quite frankly, such as Serir, and a few others that, well, don't immediately come to my mind right now. It's been quite a long day, and I ask your forgiveness of any factual misstatements that might be made during the course of this video. But with that being said, this arrived in a very shoddily constructed package. There was just a black plastic bag that was wrapped around this, complete with the obligatory duct tape around it. This was a combination purchase. There was no mention at all of this arriving with a K&F concept camera recording microphone. There was actually just a stock photo that was displayed with this camera with a shotgun microphone attached onto its top. There was no mention at all of it actually being a separate product from a different company entirely. And by the looks of this camera box, this has been sitting for quite some time, presumably gathering dust in whatever distribution warehouse it was calling a temporary home. The microphone, well, isn't all that interesting. It's just a shotgun microphone, which we will take a look at later on in this video. You can certainly tell that this is going to be a very interesting experience, to say the least. We have a totally random, incongruent with the rest of the packaging, stock photo of a man, some writing that is very obviously not in English. HDV-Z20 digital video camera recorder, Ordro, if that's how you say it. I'm not sure. Really, okay, so most of the specifications are in fact in Chinese or Japanese, some language that isn't English, and some, I guess that's someone's attempt at genuine sticker. Yeah, I don't think you need to worry about that with this camera. Operating modes: 800W megapixel sensor, probably 8 megapixels, maybe, I doubt it. 24 megapixel max. Yeah, I don't think the little sensor in this thing is going to be capable of managing anything close to those numbers, but wishful thinking on the part of the manufacturer. MPEG-4, H.264, 1080p, 720p, and 40p. Full screen, not widescreen. Well, this does seem that they went to the trouble of including a manual that is written in English. The quality of the English writing and grammar is yet to be determined. I'll actually be quite surprised to discover that this has a very well written manual that reads very easily, which it's misleading because the packaging, there's very little English writing on it, and then they go to the trouble of giving you a manual that's actually properly written. What looks like maybe a warranty card? No, this is probably the warranty card actually. Totally useless because it isn't in English. And right off the bat, I'm noticing a very distinctive off-gassing smell emanating likely from this carrying case, which probably is just full of lead and other toxic chemicals. And the world's cheapest power supply. It is a multi-voltage 100 to 240 volt 1560 hertz 200 milliamps. This thing, it's too bad there's no way for me for you to feel how cheap this thing is, but this weighs right about the same weight as this paper manual. I kid you not. In fact, if I'm inclined, I might just go ahead and drag out my scale to capture that on video. Probably would throw this thing out, but it's fits CNP40. Yeah, I wouldn't trust or leave this unattended at all, unless I want to come home to some marshmallows. Next strap for the case, and a bag of some miscellaneous goodies and gadgets, accessories, and then the camera itself and its protective case. And the contents of that plastic bag, a remote control that's probably lighter than this paper manual. That's how cheap it is. You'll wonder if it even works. A lens cap that is equally cheap. A what looks like a USB charging cable, which is quite surprisingly heavier gauge than what I'm accustomed to seeing and what is commonly used. And another USB cable, this one with a miniature USB male connection on it. Here is the case, which we will very promptly and without further ado finally open to expose the camera. And there we have it, the Ordro HDV-Z20 1080p HD 24 megapixel still image recording capable, yeah right, digital high definition camcorder. My first impressions of the camera are actually of surprise. This does have some heft to it, which I wasn't expecting after feeling and dealing with this cheapo charger and the remote control, but this has some nice weight to it and also pleasant finish to it for the most part. There's a full-sized accessory shoe, probably a cold shoe. Yeah, that's a cold shoe. A zoom lever for the digital zoom. I don't even know why they bothered adding that, because this doesn't have any optical zoom at all. A photo button. There's your record button, which actually looks like it's pitting. Don't know what that is and if that's even able to be picked up on the camera. See those little speckles on the record button? And plastic finish, which is slightly cheap, but about what you would expect on a modern, present-day digital camcorder, and a hand strap that is actually better than what you get with most cameras. Just open the screen and, oh, it's telling me the battery's low. I just noticed something too as I was about to connect this battery up to the charger. The pin is bent for the positive terminal. Here's hoping it'll actually still make contact. That goes like that. And plug it into this convenience outlet on this light. Something that seems to be a oft forgotten feature on present day camcorders, unless you really want to spend the big bucks, is a microphone jack, HDMI port, and a USB connection. And I just noticed on the top of the camera there's actually two indicator lights, one for it being busy and I assume illuminates somehow, either blinking or steadily when you're recording or accessing the memory, and then a charge indicator. And at first I didn't know why, because you could charge the battery externally with the included charger, and then it dawned on me that's why they give you the USB cable, so this can charge the battery either via a USB cable or by going ahead and plugging in the external charger. There are buttons for the power, the LED light located above the lens, a mode, display on and off, and menu, and the small speaker that's even smaller than the plastic grill suggests. See those holes right over there? That's how big it is. Several hours later, we now return. Battery is finally fully charged. This seems promising already. The frame rate is very choppy compared to the video of this camera. Of course, with this being a touchscreen camcorder, there are a minimum of buttons for the features. Again, another feature that I find unattractive in a camcorder, and in my not so humble opinion, touchscreens have absolutely no place in a camcorder. I had to manually adjust the exposure on this Canon FS200. I was overexposing, but now with that fixed we can change not as many settings as I thought we would be able to. Most of these Chinese no-name or knockoff or just generic branded camcorders have just the biggest menu system that you've ever seen, with all matter of frivolities and things that you can tinker with and configure to your liking. Whether or not it actually makes a difference is besides the point. You can change the resolution. See, it registered it, but it didn't actually load it for some reason, which is very strange behavior. 1080p, 30 frames per second, 720p, or VGA. For whatever reason, present-day camcorders that actually offer the option to record in standard definition, 480p, almost always seem to default to 40p 4:3, 640 by 480. When I'm sure it would be very simple to implement a widescreen standard definition mode. The only camera that I can recall that actually offered 40p standard definition widescreen recording was a Kodak PlaySport. That and all, of course, the myriad of MPEG-2 camcorders like this one I'm using, but any camcorder that records in MP4 or similar formats, it's always 480p 4:3. So some white balance settings for fluorescent, cloudy, and basic color adjustments, which I really have no clue why you'd want to do that. And I thought that was a button that apparently doesn't do anything. Exposure adjustments, which this is what I mean. On the Canon FS200, I could just push a button on the screen, push it again, and then push the joystick left or right to adjust the exposure on demand. This, you have to go through this clunky menu system, touch the screen if it accepts that you're clicking it, then click it, and then exit out of it. Stupid. And then metering, which I didn't want, that I want to return. Pressing the menu button actually accesses a settings menu where you can switch between video, camera, playback, slideshow, and then wireless internet connectivity. So I believe you can access the contents of the memory card wirelessly. And then setup, which allows you to configure some other features, not many, but some. Language, silent mode, the frequency, which should be set to 60 Hz. Nope, it's set to 50 Hz. Set that back. And I think that's all there is to be configured in this menu. So we will return to video, insert it says memory full, but I don't believe there's even any memory that's inserted into this camera. So I'll find a suitable SD card and begin recording some test footage. Okay, is this recording? Yes, it is. It has a small blinking red circle on the screen, and it is counting up the time. I'm sure, like far too many modern camcorders of this kind, this just has a single monaural microphone, probably by the lens, and yep, that's digital zoom. That's totally useless. Wouldn't even waste time doing anything with it. And it's a fixed focus camera as well. So this doesn't even have any focusing abilities. Wow, this is worse than I thought. Right off the bat, I'm noticing that it's not getting the white balance totally adjusted. There's just a single fluorescent light here. And pressing the light, that did absolutely nothing. That is one of the faintest LED camera lights I've ever seen. It pales in comparison even to the Canon FS200s, and its, I thought, was pretty paltry in terms of light output, but I stand corrected. Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, didn't know if it was recording before. So that's the night sky, complete with the moon, which I will try to foolishly zoom in using all of this camera's probably 5 times digital zoom. Totally useless. Low light sensitivity is actually pretty surprising. It's very dark out right now, but this camera is still able to pick up with reasonable clarity the back of this air conditioner, and I'll put on the camera light for a minute. See, there's no focusing abilities. This is fixed focus. Now how about a real treat? Using this K&F Concept generic camera microphone, and I'll put this on the top of this camcorder. See how it works. I'll have absolutely no way to monitor it because there's no headphone jack, no level meter, and there's absolutely no way to set the microphone gain manually. What could go wrong? This will have to be a quick test. I've actually oriented the microphone on the camera so that it points toward me. And this will have to be a quick test because the battery, despite charging for a full 2 hours and having a green light on the charger, is already showing as being dead. So, yeah, that's not very encouraging. Here is another test. This is in 720p 30. Looks about the same, but I'm watching this on a probably 3.5 inch or 4 inch LCD screen on the camcorder, which is likely not of the highest quality. And just for comparison's sake, I'll switch this to 480p and see if there's any noticeable difference. And there we are in 480p, 4:3, so you'll see those black bars on either side because this isn't recording in widescreen now. Again, I have no clue what the audio sounds like from this microphone. I'm hoping it makes a marked improvement in sound quality, but then again, I don't know. I won't hold my hopes high, nor will I wait with bated breath to hear the results. Unlike what is customary for most of these camcorders, the Ordro HDV-Z20 actually creates its own folder in the main root directory of your SD card, titled HDV. 2 folders contained within, one titled Movie and the other Movie Share. And remember early on in this video I was discussing and lamenting the absence of 360p or 480p widescreen video recording. Well, as it turns out, this camcorder, for some reason that isn't mentioned anywhere that I can find, within the Movie Share folder actually creates low resolution but 360p widescreen videos. See, these are some of the sample videos I've recorded, and it's recording at 640 by 360, which is widescreen. For some reason, there's the mention of CarDV turnkey, which plays in the description of the video. So, for example, if I go to play this video that I recorded now, the description is CarDV-turnkey for some reason. Really don't know if this was using a chip from another camera that was used in perhaps a dash camera. Bitrate is a bit on the conservative side for full HD, just shy of 10 megabits per second. And then the audio is PCM, but for some reason it's encoding at 32 kilohertz. So it's 512 kilobits per second, but 32 kilohertz. And I believe it's also monaural audio. Yep, one channel, and yes it is, it's one channel monaural audio, so that means even if you purchase a stereo external microphone for this, it's only going to record in mono. Your friendly neighborhood video editor would at this point like to interject and temporarily interrupt your video to bring you what is hopefully going to be a civil rant. See, I'm trying to import the video from the Ordro camera, and it's displaying a broken file symbol, meaning that it's a corrupted video file and can actually be played. See, if I try to play this here, nothing happens, and if I try to access the media properties, it doesn't show anything that would normally be populated, such as frame size or the rate of the interlacing. And just totally by chance and as a last-ditch effort, what I ended up doing is taking the .mov files that are output from the camcorder and renaming them to MP4s. And of course Windows warns us of what we already know. And now if I drag this into the video editor, you can see it actually now shows up. I actually need to convert the video files that were being generated from this camcorder. In this case I was using a program called VidCoder, which, if memory serves, is a fork of Handbrake, the Handbrake video converter. I prefer its design just a bit better to Handbrake's, but they both accomplish the same thing. So for some reason, even after renaming the MOV H.264 files that this camcorder creates to MP4, still was unable to get them to play properly. They would just jam and cause Serif Movie Plus to lock up, and video playback would just freeze for some reason. So it's definitely something wrong with the codec or the way in which the video files were recorded from this camcorder. So I just imported them to VidCoder and just converted them to standard MP4 files with using the same bitrate and resolution that they originally encoded at. And now it seems that Movie Plus actually will play it fine, because before you just tried playing it and it would just freeze. So the minute you click play, you'd hear the audio playing, but the frame would just stay at whatever it was being showed when you click the play button. In the interest of a well-rounded review covering every aspect of this camcorder or close to it, and not to mention the apparent shortcomings thereof, we're going to let Tina Turner demonstrate the capabilities of the internal mono microphone on the Ordro HDV-Z20.
You must understand, the touch of your hand makes my folks react. That it's only the thrill of boy meeting girl, opposites attract.
Here are even more CDs that I've taken the liberty to rip into the computer finally. And I have a feeling that as soon as I put this LED light on, the battery will begin to exhaust itself prematurely, so I'll turn that off. I don't want that happening. And the lack of autofocus really gets on one's nerves when attempting to record anything close up, or even about this far. You still can't see anything, so you have to be all the way back about here for anything to be in focus. But if you begin to get closer, everything starts getting blurry. This camera has a very obvious rolling shutter problem. So I move it from side to side, the wall looks like it's bending. So there's your review of the Ordro HDV-Z20. Terrible camcorder, complete with a problematic battery that doesn't like to hold its charge. Just very low quality. I'm not even going to bother trying to use the wireless mode to transfer videos and photos off of it, because number one, I have no need for that feature. I'll just take the SD card out of the camera and connect it to my computer. And second of all, I'm sure it's going to be buggy and glitchy as anything. Just the whole thing. This camera is junk. I don't even know why anyone would purchase this aside from a morbid curiosity they wish to satisfy. It's just not even worth the price. Even if this was being sold for $40 or $50, you would just be better off buying a used standard definition camcorder. The manufacturers have a lot of hubris marketing this as a high definition camcorder when this is the farthest thing from it.